Hey everybody, welcome back to Hotel Dropouts. It's me, Bernie, together with Dan and Jamie, back at you with the topic regarding the special resources that countries these days are still fighting over. An example of what I mean is that it used to be oil, right? It used to be gold, it used to be sugar, but now, today, we think it's semiconductors, microchips, more futuristic or modern day resources that are high in demand, and how the countries are going about trying to wrestle control from each other,
Indeed.
what tactics they're using and stuff like that. But before we go into this topic, let's start by asking how our weeks were. Spoiler, I don't really want to talk about my week. I will just say that I did a lot of self work, had to unpack a lot of mental baggages. I was shocked awake by people close to me noticing that I was having issues, so to say. And it's been not easy, but there's nothing to it besides chipping away at it one step at a time, I guess.
No
How
pun
about your
intended.
weeks? Yeah, Jamie, you seem willing to talk. How's your week?
uh, luckily, I'm at peace with my own misery. I've recently been bitten, so I'm still in a lot of pain. Like it's so annoying to realize just how little you could do without your thumb, especially on your main hand. Um, but in any case, I went to a concert for One Republic. It was crazy. The lead singer Ryan Tedder, a nearly 50-year-old man who is jumping around whilst singing, and he didn't it didn't seem like he was, it didn't seem his age. He just had so much vigor, so much energy. Doing that nonstop for 3 hours, it was banger of a show, and I can't help but feel like he was on some kind of drugs. I don't know. I feel like these superstars must take something right before a show, like for a boost. Does that make sense?
Some of them do,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's not a secret. Some of them do. And to be honest, like when you were starting that sentence, I thought you were gonna say that he had a heart attack on stage or
No,
something.
no, no. But
yeah,
in
I'm back on stage, and that was epic.
no. But
No, but you shared the pictures and the video of it,
yeah.
and I was just thinking, like, concerts in Asia seems to be on a whole different level.
Oh, the pyromatics, the pyrotechs. I think, the lighting was on par. It was superb, and I have to say that the management of the venue was insane because I thought we were gonna be stuck inside it for hours on end. But once the concert was over, I think everybody we vacated within an hour. So that was a good management.
Evacuated.
We evacuated. It was kind of it was a shame because the One Republic had another singer from Saudi Arabia, like a very young boy who's going viral now. His name is Mishal Tamer. And for him, I just felt like the venue didn't give him enough attention, give him enough care. That his microphone was kind of cutting off, so when he was singing, sometimes you couldn't hear him over the background music, and that was a shame. But
Whoa, that's
in any
suspicious.
case,
You think it's done on purpose?
I don't know, man. I felt so bad because at one point they were seeing like a duet, like One Republic invited him up to the stage to sing, and you can just see that you couldn't hear him, like you could only hear Ryan. And at one point, Ryan notices, and he was trying to grab him close so they could sing with the same microphone. And that was like I felt embarrassed on behalf of Taiwan, of the venue owner. In any case, once we got out, immediately there was a national tragedy. There's been a very shocking knife attack that left 9 people hurt, gravely injured, and 4 people dead. There was a knife attack in Taipei where a 27-year-old man, as if he was ex-military, but wasn't in a combat role. We don't know what happened. He just went crazy. he went to he went to the metro station and started lobbing these smoke grenades everywhere and then slashing, cutting people. And what was even worse is that there was a man who tried to stop him, was a much older gentleman who died from choking. And I didn't know that could happen. If you inhale too much smoke grenade, you could die. That would redefine a lot of the video games that I've played.
I mean, it's a lack of fresh air, right?
I guess so.
Suffocating. It's like if
Yeah,
you inhale too much carbon dioxide, you still die.
Yeah,
Well,
he had a gas mask. Yeah, he had a gas mask on, and he eventually made his way out of the metro station, started just attacking people on the streets, and he was still lobbing these smoke grenades, and it caused like a mass panic. It was like it's the first time that I've seen an indiscriminate knife attack that has strategy. I guess it was like he was using a skill combo. It was so weird. And what's even worse was that it was found out that the scooter driver that he stabbed in the throat, the poor man died on the spot. He was bleeding too much. That person happened to be an HIV carrier who is actively being treated. So the guy stained his blood, stained his weapon.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So he obviously didn't know, but he continued to cut people up.
Yeah.
So all the people that were slashed up are at grave risk of contracting AIDS.
Fucking hell.
It was so messed
That's
up.
fucked up.
And now there's like a whole conspiracy going on. Oh my goodness, it's a whole mess. But I'm really upset with it because you know how we sort of prize ourselves on the efficiency of these, you know, public facilities, these infrastructures, that I could make my way from the high-speed rail to the metro station and just get around Taipei. It's a very modern place. But now they're talking the possibilities of security checks like you have in China, like you have in certain parts of America, where you would just be delayed. It's sort of like like airports, basically. Because of 911, now we have the TSA. Now we have airport checks everywhere.
One quick question.
Yeah?
It might sound fucked up to mention this, but you think it was government planted? Like they want the increased control, so they set up a situation or break a guy down so that they engineered this situation is what I'm trying to say. It's not far from the realm of possibilities, you know.
Unfortunately, no. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is completely within the realm of some kind of conspiracy because a lot of weird things have come out about this person. Like he's 27-year-old, he doesn't have a job, yet he's not in contact with his family either, but he rents a very expensive apartment in Taipei, which isn't luxurious. Any apartment in Taipei is fucking expensive. He rents an expensive place, and he just has the money for all the equipment, all the smoke grenades that he bought, and the fact that when he left his apartment, right, he set it all on fire. So he didn't want to leave a track. He barely has an internet history. You couldn't track him down. You couldn't find out anything about this individual. Of course, he could just be weird, but. Eventually, when the SWAT team caught up to him, he was sort of bunkered in on the 4th or the 5th floor of a bookstore, and the official word was that he jumped off and died, and people started questioning that he did a lot of planning, he did a lot of burning down his place, removing his traces. And the fact that he just has a whole big sack of smoke grenades, was he planning on getting away? Or at the very least, did he plan on killing himself? Or did he, it would seem as though if you've gone through this much work, you have some kind of message to send. So you would likely just surrender yourself and be caught, right? And especially in Taiwan, it's very difficult to get a death sentence. So, we've had other other people committing terrorism, and basically they're still alive. They're just in jail. So there's conspiracy that the government and the SWAT team they responded very slowly. kind of. I don't know what would be considered fast because we don't have these events, nearly as frequent enough, thankfully. But a conspiracy is saying that they let him rampage, they let him kill people, and then eventually they killed him. Right? You can't question the dead. But again, it's just conspiracy. I don't know much. Wouldn't give it too much credence at this point. But yeah, I'm really annoyed with the. I don't know why this is the thing that bothers me the most. It's the smoke grenade and knife combo. It's so weird, man. Just do it, right? Like, you have a knife. People are like, Taiwanese people are not very accustomed to attack, so we have a very slow response rate and a very high tolerance rate to people just being fucking weird. So even if you look at some of the footages, you see people are still walking around whilst he was weaving through the crowd, just cutting people up. Yeah, you do hear screams here and there, but people are not like panic running, right? It was completely different from when I was in Birmingham, and outside of a cinema there was a gunshot, right? And British people, they're I don't know why, but they're accustomed to it. They responded immediately. People just started bolting and screaming. But that's not the case in Taipei.
Well,
I mean,
I mean, I'm thinking about the smoke and knife. I think it's also he's trying to use the smoke to conceal his movements.
Maybe.
I think the smoke is less of an offensive, but more of a defensive, because like he's there to hurt everybody, right?
Yeah.
So every humanoid figure is a target.
Exactly.
So even if it's obstructed by smoke, it's not like he has a specific target. So humanoid figure, stab. Humanoid figure, stab. Right?
Yeah.
So the smoke doesn't constrain him as much, but it causes a lot of confusion for everybody else. Like, especially if the police is intervening, right? You're trying to find one specific guy or one specific person in a crowd of many, and if you're obscured by smoke, even if you have thermals, like how do you? I mean, I guess with thermal, you can more or less see the movement pattern, and you can say, "Aha, this is the assaulter." But like, how often does normal police officers carry around thermals?
Exactly.
Zero. It's so close to 0% chance that it becomes a non-factor. I think the smoke is more of a obstruction and concealment tactic and a distraction, maybe.
It was his crowd control
for him to
ability.
maybe, I mean, and also think about it. Maybe that was his exit strategy as well. Like, he stabbed, I don't know how many people he wants to stab. Maybe while obscured by smoke, he has a second clothing or a change of clothes that he can change into, and then just walk away or start running away, right? Like, as though he was just another one of the crowd.
Maybe, yeah. We don't know why.
These are my thoughts regarding smoke and knife, though.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but hopefully we're so close to the holiday season. Hopefully we won't have any more violence. So, has there been any stabbings in Latvia? I hope not.
Thank God, not. But we had the what do you call it, shopping center evacuated, not in Latvia but in Estonia, because there was apparently a bomb, and I didn't read any news about it yet.
Yeah.
But I think it even exploded. I think one person was injured or something. But yeah, something happened there.
In Estonia.
But otherwise, yeah.
It's like a country that we don't really know about any internal strifes that's happening there. I don't know. Like, what? Nothing comes to mind. Like, there's not an immigrant crisis. There's not a. Is there corruption? Maybe, I don't know. Like, Estonia just sounds so picturesque and perfect to me. It's difficult to imagine a bomb. Did we know why? Like, what did we know of any of the motivations?
No, I haven't read anything about it yet, so I really don't know. Cannot really add anything on it. To the internal problems that they might have, I guess they're similar to what Latvia is having. We have Russia really close. It's trying to influence us, the local Russian-speaking people, not only. Maybe also they have the same thing as most of Europe has now, is that there's a lot of right-leaning politicians that are trying to be hypey, I guess.
Right,
I don't
yeah.
want to use the word populist, but that's what sometimes they are called. And we have the same problem like that as well, because a lot of the right-leaning people in the politics, I feel like sometimes they just want to, they're against something just to be against something. That's like my impression sometimes.
I like to call it the Trumpification of the right that is happening in
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
right, like many parts of the world where they see that it's effective in America, they extrapolate and they think that's going to work in that country as well. And unfortunately, sometimes it does.
It does sometimes, exactly.
Oh well. All right. Should we
No. How about you, Dan? How was your week?
Oh yeah, my week is pretty normal. Not much going on. I've been mostly working. I had a moment where I didn't have enough clients, so I reached out to some of my friends who are also doing furniture, and basically got some side hustles, which I'm doing right now. So I apologize if I'm not participating as much. It's because I'm actually moving around furniture parts and gonna assemble a closet soon enough.
I need to think of an erotic name for you and your friends. The Hardwood
Oh,
Brothers.
Yesterday I made a pepper. What do you call it?
Grinder?
Gingerbread cookie house, but it was a commie block. I made the cookie cutters on my 3D printer, and I cut out the panels. It's
Yeah.
horrendous. It looks like it's abandoned because all the panels, they were nice when they were cut out, but when it baked, some of them got bigger, some of them not that much, so it doesn't align really well.
Oh my goodness. Is the frosting red to denote the communist flag? Okay, that's too much.
No, it was white. It
Oh.
looks like a poorly made connection between panels.
Ooh.
Or maybe snowy, however you want to put it.
Nice.
So that's my week.
Wait,
So returning to the yeah.
Did you said you printed it with gingerbread?
No, I printed the cookie cutters
Uh-huh.
so that I can cut out the panels from a flat cookie dough.
For a moment, I thought you could now print with gingerbread. That was so intense. But yeah, moving back to, I guess, semiconductors, the things that people are fighting nowadays. But yeah, what do you guys know about the semiconductor technology?
I know that
Microchip.
Taiwan makes them.
Yeah, Taiwan soft shield. That's why America still gives a shit about Taiwan.
Silicon
but America's
shield.
trying to build their own semiconductors. I don't know why I'm talking like that.
Microchips and fish.
Yeah.
All the missiles these days need them. All our GPUs need them. Like all the cars need them. Like
yeah.
a lot of modern day technology needs them.
It sounds like
So he who controls the microchips controls the world, or something like that, I guess.
that's pretty much true. This is gonna sound like a lecture from me, but I've been reading.
Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt like that, but like, doesn't that mean like since it's so important?
Yeah.
Doesn't it mean for those future people, like if you work into that direction, doesn't it mean you have a pretty stable future?
Pretty much, yes. Yeah, you have a very good living. It depends, but if you're talking about like TSMC engineers, they do make a shit ton of money, but they rarely have time. It's sort of like you need to be on call pretty much.
That's because there's not a lot of them.
Exactly.
But as more people start to go into that field,
yeah,
like double-edged sword, right? Because now you start to have more time, but you might get less pay because there's more people in the market.
Yeah, and you know, beyond that, right? Like we have a population crisis. We're literally going to run out of children. So among from the population, just how many more future microchip artisans can you have, right? Engineers can you have?
Does it only have to be Taiwanese? Is what I'm implying.
It sort of has to, because it's TSMC is partially kind of owned by the country as well. It's our country's our province. it's
I mean,
it's our contested territories.
no.
I make no comment.
I think it's a country.
Nice.
All I'm saying is that as America tries to catch up, as India and China tries to catch up, as Russia tries to catch up, it's not gonna be only Taiwanese. I'm big picture here.
Yeah. Yes, you can certainly make an argument for that. But as we delve into the topic, I hopefully will illustrate just how complex this whole thing is, and how you would soon realize why, China has poured in billions to Huawei in order to be a proper competitor. And even with a country with a GDP of China, still cannot fully overtake TSMC. And that even TSMC has been operating for decades. Many countries could have actually, not just could have, they have attempted at breaking in and competing. And this dominance isn't just with TSMC as well. We'll talk a bit about the Netherlands too when it comes to this, but it's insane. But yeah, so a little bit of history.
One
right?
sec.
Yeah.
One sec before you proceed. I just want to say what you just said is basically you saying, actually wrong. You're
No.
stupid, and here is why, but in an eloquent way.
No. You could completely be right. Like, honestly, it is possible.
No,
even the United States is trying, right? And we'll see. We'll explain why that it's such a challenge.
And just so it's clear, like, I'm not very well versed in this topic. So Jamie, for the knowledge and sharing of information, you're gonna be probably doing most of the heavy lifting here.
Oh, it'll be a lecture from me. Welcome to my TED Talk about the chip war. Okay, a little preface into history was that back in World War II, we were fighting with aluminium and steel, and partially it was fuel. Control for fossil fuel was very important. You might know about the Pearl Harbor. Do we know why Japan attacked Pearl Harbor?
Because they evil.
They had dominated China during the Second World War. They had done so much shit. They were unstoppable, technologically advanced, second to none in Asia. It honestly wouldn't make sense for them to poke the bear that was America, the only power that was strong enough to compete with them and decimate them. But
weren't they like afraid that America was gonna join anyway in time, and they decided, like, all right, since you're gonna join anyway, we might as well preemptively strike them first, so
preemptive attack.
Weaker.
But if you're gonna do a preemptive attack,
that was the argument.
I mean, if you're doing a preemptive attack, surely you wouldn't attack a military base in Asia, right? Like, you would strike Los Angeles, you would strike the continent itself. But it was because
I think I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong, but I think they were going about for like a strategic victory where they don't completely kill the enemy, but they disrupt their abilities to intervene, which was their fleet, their naval fleet. They were thinking, or at least I assume that they were thinking that if they can cripple the enemy fleet hard enough, then they won't be able to join in the war effort anymore, because how will they move their people?
Okay, well, not exactly, because Pearl Harbor was not enough to contain the entirety of the American naval power. That's the first thing. And they
In other words, wrong.
No, and it does make sense to if you could, right, strike their military bases around the island chains in Asia, it would make sense. If you could debilitate them, remove them from because it's sort of a vicious cycle. It's kind of like a virus that's spreading, right? If you let America have one of the islands close by, that means they then have the logistics to support this war. But it was practically impossible because the Americans were in Vietnam, they were in the Philippines, they were in Japan. Oh, sorry, no, not in Japan. They were in the Philippines. They were all around Asia. It was very difficult to just remove all of their posts and outskirt bases. Basically the Japanese eventually attacked because their war was coming to an end. The writing was on the wall. It was, think of it as a one last hurrah kind of, because for their aggression, America had issued an oil embargo, and Japan had all the steel and aluminium, but they were eventually going to run out of the resource that powers the war machine. So for that, they see that they declare that as an attack on Japan, and hence the attack on Pearl Harbor. But eventually, it was very soon brought to an end with the two bombs. So World War II, machinery, fuel. And then comes the Cold War, and this was the era where mostly it was a fight between the Soviet Union and America, and fighting over the well-coveted sources of oil. Right, the whole Afghanistan invasion practically was just about fossil fuels. Then, as technology started to sort of evolve, right, we are modernizing the military. Everything now has a computer in it. The computers have become ubiquitous, and soon countries realize that warfare is very much going to be about the technology. It's going to be about how do you power your smart weapons, so to speak. So this is pretty much kind of like not a TLDR, but a trailer for Chris Miller's book, The Chip War. I highly recommend you read it, because it gives you a very good kind of rundown on the world affairs as it is, right? So,
is he sponsoring this podcast?
yeah, I wish he could. But it's a very famous book. It's a lot of people. It came out a long time ago. But yeah, nowadays,
and talking to people about things, be it chips or the future or the past or your mental issues, it's really important. So that's why we thank our sponsor, BetterHelp. No, I'm just joking.
that was a very tight. Segue. Man, do you think if we do this enough, are they gonna? I wish they're gonna sponsor us if we do this enough.
I don't know, man, but it's not we didn't do this for the money. So I mean, I'm just throwing jokes in there. Would be nice if you get something out of this, but for me, it's more just to hang out with the boys.
Indeed. I mean, since we don't have much time, obviously, I'm not gonna recall all of the history behind semiconductors, but all you need to know that it was once the United States and physicists in the United States had figured out that you can make transistors by etching tiny little lines into a semiconducting material such as silicon or germanium, you can make transistors, things that help you switch from 0 to 1. Basically, that's the fundamentals of calculation. You can kind of like shrink that down to a very small size, which then makes modern technology possible. You know, we all know that really back in the day, we had giant machines, we had giant calculators, and things used to run on vacuum tubes, right? And a mechanical / early artificial computers relied on clusters of vacuum tubes that would burn so bright that it would attract a shit ton of moths. And that gave us the term debugging nowadays. Like when we refer to debugging, it was because scientists and engineers literally had to remove moths and bugs from the clusters of vacuum tubes.
Oh,
but in any case,
never knew that actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
thank you.
with the invention of the early prototypes of semiconductors, there were different layering technology. People were trying to figure out, either for the academic front or for military appliances, or simply just for the fact that they want to be rich. So a lot of people started working on this. The United States government also poured in money because back then something happened that shocked America, that really kick-started the sort of America's chase for scientific dominance. It was when the Soviets put our boy Yuri Gagarin into orbit, right? The space race had been won by the fucking Soviets, and gosh darn Americans, we can't have that. No way in hell. So yeah, a push for academia, push for technology. Eventually, we now have these silicon tiny transistors, and this was all kind of like the early companies that did this. Included Fairchild Semiconductors, or if you talk about some of the founding technology, were thanks to people that were part of Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments been around since and what was I going to say? Wait, so yeah, so this whole clusters of industry started to appear in San Francisco, in that general region, which eventually gave us the name Silicon Valley, right? So early day silicon application was all in America, at Silicon Valley. But yeah, with that, with that Kickstarter, the technology, unfortunately, we now have people wanting to manufacture this technology at a cheaper price. So what do you do if you want shit made cheap back in those days?
You move your production line somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, you couldn't go to Vietnam because we just had a Cold War. Okay, sorry, yeah, we couldn't do Vietnam. We couldn't do China because China was not modernized by then. There was a tiny little country that some guy who used to work at Texas Instruments came from. So, yeah, you started moving stuff to Taiwan. You want to make sure that the export prices were kept to a low price, so that you don't want to waste too much money on it. But yeah, that's a very short history, a very disgustingly summarized the backstory of this of semiconductors, and now everybody needs it. So we know that TSMC has a practically global hegemony over semiconductor production. But do you know the whole kind of like supply chain? We could simplify this as well. If you want to have a smartphone on your hand, if you want to buy one, first of all, you need blueprints designed by ARMS, a Japanese company that's based in the UK. Right? You need blueprints from ARMS. You need softwares to run your machineries that are provided from America, usually San Francisco. I think it's still Fairchild Semiconductors. You need memory chips that are from South Korea, that are from Japan, right? You need the semiconductors themselves, the silicon silicon wafers, not waffles. I'm hungry. From Taiwan, but the Taiwanese cannot just manufacture these chips out of nowhere, right? They needed machines that are provided by ASML, our favorite Dutch company, because as of today, as of recording this video, ASML still has 100% hegemony over the machinery that performs lithography, so photolithography. And these machines are famously expensive. They're like, I don't know if it's millions or billions, but the Chinese, try to buy one and then, kind of reverse engineer it, but it had so much anti-tampering design, so it was impossible to copy, basically. And then again, those instruments also rely on softwares that are designed by the Americans. And once the whole thing once these little chips are carved and done, they are sent to Malaysia for testing, right? And then eventually it goes back to America for designing of the product, of how you would want to lay out the schematics of the chips would they're on the motherboards, they're on just about everything, designed in America, for the target product, and then eventually assembled in China. So this whole thing is super complex. And how do you go about replacing this? It's not something you could just move to America if you wanted to. You can't just be like, oh, I want all the smartphones made in America. That's not possible because of all this complex supply chain that are managed by a very small amount of companies that simply cannot be replaced. How do you steal all of their technologies? How do you manage to buy them off, even if you could? So that gives us the sort of conundrum of modern day strife, is that now, especially with the push of AI, everything hinges on semiconductors, everything hinges on memory, everything hinges on this minuscule supply chain that simply cannot be disturbed, or else the global economy grinds to a halt, right? So what are some implications of that?
I'm sorry, I was in another room. What are the implications about what?
Of the fact that in modern day affairs, like the world that we live in runs on semiconductors. So what does that imply for the world, right? What does that imply for how global politics would move forward?
How what global what?
How global politics would move forward. So, having heard all that,
sorry, I got a call.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
I think the answer is. I think the answer to this, and also pulling in our topic today, is that, well, we fight for chips now.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Which is why, like, do you remember a couple months back, or like within, I think 2 years back, there were a lot of news articles coming out warning of China's control over rare earths, and how that's kind of just disappeared. Now we don't really talk about rare earths anymore.
I mean, microchips, I remember in the news, was also like the big topic.
Yeah.
Like last year and the year before, or maybe something like that.
Pretty much.
And then as soon as Dan dropped off.
Oh no. But yeah, so this
but as soon as like America was like, oh, we're gonna build microchip factories in America. We're gonna do all these things to combat that. Like, we're gonna fight against their monopoly. Suddenly, like, nobody cares anymore.
Exactly, and it's kind of too late. So the carving, the act of carving into silicon to create tiny transistors relies on a process known as photolithography. So lithography, right? It's using light, concentrated UV light, running through a chemical agent and a bunch of magnifying glasses, or like, the glasses that are, again, made by only Zeiss, a company based in Germany, is incredibly difficult, incredibly seismic sensitive. You can't have earthquakes. And it's such an intricate process that if you do want to set it up in the States, it's possible, but it'll be so much more expensive because you can't pay Americans the way you pay Taiwanese, right? Not to mention that the amount of training and the amount of Taiwanese artisans that you would need there on American soil, for 5 to 10 years at a time, that's a big ask, and that's very difficult to do as well. But yeah, so having known this, a lot of people have worried about a cross-strait conflict between China and Taiwan. Knowing what we know about the microchips industry, the fact that the world fights for semiconductors, I guess this is not really assuring you that warfare wouldn't happen, but I'm hoping that now that you understand what's at stake here, right? Because news outlets, they like the buzzwords of, oh, we want to keep the democracy in Taiwan. Nobody cares about democracy here. The Americans don't care about
sensationalism, right?
Exactly. And China also understands that if you were to take Taiwan, it would be a pointless effort if you don't take TSMC, right? So conquering this island becomes more about, hey, well, we don't want your island, we don't need your people, we don't need your natural resources because you have none. The only thing you have valuable is too valuable. That's the problem for China, because the only thing you have of value is your semiconductor technology. And America, Japan, South Korea, the European Union, to lob them in. Everybody's involved in this process. They're not going to. What would happen to them, if you were to destroy, let's say, all the fabs in Taiwan or all the semiconductor fabs? It would send the world, back technologically by decades, right? So China understands very well that this war, if should they try and take this technology, you are fighting the world. You're not fighting just the Americans. You're not just fighting the minuscule Taiwanese army, as if we have any. And this also goes on to show you that it's just it's kind of crazy how like we're no longer just fighting for a simple resource like oil, and how what happened? Oh, well, he's gonna go work. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Then drop one.
But yeah, what do you
But do you think
like?
do you think they're, remember several years ago they did this whole like, oh, wolf warrior policy shit, where they were like very antagonistic against the world.
Yeah.
Do you think that was also like a soft probe to see if they could?
I think so, yeah.
Then they realized they couldn't, and they were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Retract.
Dude, they even had these cross-border conflicts with India, and even then that wasn't going so well. The fact remains that you can't simultaneously be a military, an aggressive military, whilst being the factory of the world. If your existence relies on you trading with everybody, you can't be aggressive. The only countries that can afford to do that are kind of like hermit kingdoms that have one leverage, a single leverage, right? In the case of Russia, it's oil, right? They have a stranglehold on natural gas and oil to Europe specifically. Another country that could do this is North Korea. If you have nukes, right, you can throw a tantrum.
What's that country that our finance teacher was all hard on about? Like, he was like, is it Mexico? No, it's
Brazil.
Some country.
Brazil.
That's the one. He was like, Brazil is the only country that's self-sustaining. He was really all into Brazil.
Yeah, he was really into that. But how do you define
But also, one sec.
Yeah.
But talking about China against the world, I'm pretty sure China is a major oil importer as well, like a major energy importer.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about this. My resources are also very unreliable and uncertain. But I'm pretty sure that their energy imports, their oil imports, goes through the Suez Canal. And
oh wow.
Or at least the island trains of Indonesia and all that. And I'm pretty sure that that's why they are so insistent on gaining more territory of the naval routes there. And I heard that the easiest way to stop their war machine is to cut off their oil imports.
Yeah,
because they don't have a big reserve of it.
I mean, they could always have backdoor supply channels with Russia and with Saudi
They
Arabia.
could, yes.
If you want to,
Yeah, but that's the thing. For the things to come from Saudi Arabia, it has to go through all these channels.
Precisely, yeah. So you would have
And
to
if a
challenge.
blockade is put up, yeah.
So if you manage to get Russia and Saudi Arabia on your side when it comes to strangling China in the energy sense, they are absolutely fucked. Like there's nothing they can do about it. They import a lot of food as well, surprisingly.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah, so yeah, they do, especially corn, beans from America.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that now. Yeah.
So all too often we just look at the news, we get really kind of distracted by these sensationalist titles, but always it always comes back to the economy is war is economy, and economy is politics. It's all about the intricate trading system we have around the world. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that nowadays, like, what do you feel like is just gonna happen in the future? Do you think that this delicate supply chain can be challenged? Do you think there's gonna be another company that could ever challenge the Dutch hegemony on these lithography machines? Can another country challenge the prowess of the German engineering when it comes to these crazy lenses? Just to put it into perspective, right? Like the scale that you're working at, the scale that you're working with when it comes to these tiny machines, these semiconductors, they are literally smaller than the coronavirus, right? They're literally like 1/10 the size of. It's so freaking small, and the process of lithography boils down to you are reflecting UV light through a bunch of lenses through a chemical agent. So imagine like a dripping liquid, right? A chemical agent that then reduces I don't know if it's reducing or concentrating, but light needs to run through that chemical agent, then to be carving onto a silicon wafer that is so tiny, and you need to do it fast enough. You can't just take your time to do the carving, right? It's just so it's
doesn't the liquid like change the trajectory of the light as well?
That's the thing, right? Like so it has to be perfectly planar, which is possible. I guess you just need some kind of instrument to run that liquid, or maybe it could be gaseous. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, look,
yeah. But the point is, I get your point, and then I think the yes and no in the short term, yes in the long term, because like if you give anything enough funding and enough time, at some point you're gonna get there.
Yeah,
it just depends on how long, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the hegemony, hegemony,
the hegemony. The dominance. Just say dominance.
The dominance. It's gonna get broken someday.
Yeah,
but
do you think
it's just a question of time? And that's the whole reason why I want you out of Taiwan, is because I do believe that China will make a bid at regaining control. How, I don't know, but the physical means is not far off the table. And
yeah, they try stealing as well. And this might shock you, but the people that are mostly attempting to steal the semiconductor technology is actually Japan and Israel. But it's rough, it's difficult. I feel like a weird reckoning may happen where the very semiconductors that we make that are used to power AI becomes the one thing that could replace human production when it comes to the semiconductors. Can we rely on artificially intelligent machines to do this? And I'm talking this very, very far in the future, right? We're talking decades away, because chatbots are not capable of that. Don't know. I mean, we don't really have AGI.
Let's put a number on it.
I'm thinking, there's this thing called Moore's Law, where I forgot his first name, Michael Moore or something. But this guy from Fairchild Semiconductors, I think, was saying that Moore's law basically claims that the technology for creating these tiny transistors will become smaller every other year, and we've surpassed that. Right, we went from the size of
smaller in the sense of the field is getting smaller, or the
the
technology and products are
technology,
getting smaller.
like literally it will be possible to have a phone that is as thin as a credit card in the future, because we could just
Oh yeah.
pack that many things.
No, you're still thinking way too small, like a phone in your islands.
Oh, could it be? Can you imagine all the fucking ads, the slop ads that you can't get rid of? And then you're just like poking your eyes, like, oh, how do I exit this?
Yeah, take the lens off.
I guess so. No, man, it's so, I don't know, it's kind of grim to think about this, like in the future, how ads will be everywhere.
It's easy. You just pay for the ad blocker.
And there'll be the like, that's the one thing I love about Androids, by the way. Like, there's so many applications that you can get that are like made by genuinely like people with good intentions. So usually just one solo dev, and they managed to create like a powerful ad blocker that's good enough to fight off most commercial like browsers. Oh, but man, like the AI browsers, oh my god, the chat ones. Did you hear about like the controversies with it? Where if you store your credit card information, there are ways to inject a script to the chatbot that's attached to, let's say, Opera GX. And then, you can embed like a PDF file, and then that injects script, and then I can extract your credit card information from that.
Cool. That's why I don't store my credit card information.
Yeah, best not to do that. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. I was just really excited to learn about these things, and I hope more people delve into it, because it feels like the war for fighting resources has stopped. It just hasn't. It's just gotten more complicated.
It just changed.
Yeah. So the next time,
and I actually, as a really interesting throw-in, regarding your exponential growth in the technology bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about we end with some existential dread?
Or
all right. So basically,
yeah, you can start.
By following that trend of technology, and also by understanding that we are able to create simulations. You see where this is going?
Oh.
This means that there is a higher chance of this life right now being a simulation than that it's not. Just by the fact of just based on technological growth, and based on the existing simulations that we already have now.
Yeah. Do you think we are the architects of the simulation, or do you think it's somebody else, something else?
But that's what I'm trying to say. That the chances that we are not like the prime timeline is a lot higher. That we are in a simulation is a lot higher than that we are not in a simulation. That doesn't mean that we are in a simulation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't discount the fact that we are not in one, and we can't prove it.
Simulation or not,
That's crazy, huh?
I know, but simulation or not, I'm still being paid a minimum wage. I wonder if there's fucking hell. Give me a simulation where I'm paid slightly above that. I'll be happy with that. I promise.
Give me a simulation where I lived a good life. No. But regarding that as well, like a more positive spin on that close is that, hey, simulation or not, what you're feeling right now feels real to you or is real to you. So it doesn't matter if it's a simulation or
We're not sponsored by APAC.
Real. What? Who's that?
Because you kept saying is real. It sounds like you're saying Israel. APAC is the lobbyist group for Israeli cause.
Okay. Shit. Well, hey, there's a option here. If you want things to be real, we can make it so that it is real.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? I hear they pay a lot of money. Like, we need to suck up to the Jews or the Saudis, man. For that would we'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, but what I was trying to say though is that what you're going through right now, what you're experiencing right now, is for you the real thing.
So
You want those magic words, you know what to do. Wink, wink.
Yeah. But isn't that good enough,
So it
though?
doesn't matter.
If it is real to you, notice the emphasis on the T. If it is real to you, then that should be good enough, right? Like if you can't discern reality from not reality, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I was going for.
All right. Well,
It doesn't matter.
my existential dread is that it's much more short term. It's the fact that we are seeing countries strategizing their statecraft, like the way they manage their country, based on like it's all far too concentrating, right? Like we're seeing Taiwan being the best example of just throwing all your eggs in the semiconductor basket. We're seeing America throwing all their eggs into the AI industry, right?
I see what you're going.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So in the long run, it would just feel like either we're all just gonna be corporate slaves. That's the one way to do this, or the other is for us to have UBI. But I just don't see that happening. UBI is too far. Like it's not possible. Who's gonna pay for it? Like, are you gonna get billionaires to pay for you? So if billionaires are sponsoring your UBI, then aren't you just their employees? Kind of. They count on you. You know, to vote for policies that are in their favor.
The modern day slave wage, right? Wage slave.
Exactly, and I fear that, like I fear that there's so much, like all the flourishing of humanity, the arts, the literature, the works, the passion, you know, the technology that were created from passion, are all going to be just destroyed and swept under the rug, all for the name of late stage capitalism. You know, so much so that yeah, it's just it's depressing to think about. But
I don't think we're there yet, and I don't think we'll be there in like 3-4 decades.
You know what I think would be the best silver lining, the best hope that this could something that could happen that's also being considered by the European Parliament as well, is that all future inventions and technologies, you know, let's use Tesla as an example. If you buy a Tesla car, you are legal. It would be legal for you to deconstruct it, break it down, install your own software, install your own modification. That when you own this product, when you own this technology, it's yours. You're free to modify it. You're free to change it. Instead of, you know, you're just paying for a subscription and you can't touch anything with the software, right? Like this was
but how does that go with patenting, and how do you prevent people from reverse engineering your stuff?
Exactly, right. So there comes the conundrum, right? Like there are people joking about, oh, the Netherlands are very serious about patent violation, except if it comes to ASML. If it's the company doing it, you know, our country kind of relies on them. So I won't bat an eye. Like you guys can do it, right? So infringing like patents, these are never really justly enforced, right? They're always, it depends on who you are. If you're big enough, you can violate it. Your country's going to let you do that.
Isn't it good also though for the consumer? Because now there's more options in the market. There's
exactly. So I'm saying that it should just be legal. Like we should really have a serious look about the relationship we have with the technologies we own. Do we actually own them? Right? There could be.
My counter argument though is that if everybody can do anything, what's the point of inventing new shit if everybody's just gonna steal it? Where's my incentive, right? Where's my reward?
Well,
you could say that the journey of finding out stuff and improving lives, making better products, that it's in itself should be the passion. Like it's the journey, not the goal. But that's why capitalism works, right? And that's why capitalism also is a driving force of innovation and new technology, is because people know that, oh, if I make a better version of a thing, if I produce a new service that's never been produced, that's never been done before, that conveniences lives, I can make big money from that, and I
Yeah.
can get rewarded by that, right? So it's a really delicate balance of the good of the whole and the good of the few, right?
Exactly. That is very much the main argument right now that people are having, right? You could argue
So
like
why not both? Why not both? Why
I
not
think
we
so,
find a
yeah.
system that
Like you could argue
fix
that
both?
Nikola Tesla didn't invent the Tesla coil because he just wanted to be rich, right? There's the innate creative drive within him. But you could equally say that, you know, we have been working within this capitalist system, and money is a really big incentive. Whether we like it or not, because of capitalism, we sped it up, right? Speed is
Yeah.
the key word here. I think the balance could be found in the idea that we need to be more pro competition, because we do have too many hegemonies. We do have too many companies out there that are just completely unchallenged. It's impossible to challenge them, and that does stifle growth, right? So
Yeah, but the
you
system itself also sometimes stifles the opportunity for growth as well, though.
exactly. So it is tough. It's a tough question. Something to think about. Are we
And
evolving
yeah,
into an educational channel?
no, we're not. I'm still gonna talk about shit
Yeah.
and stuff. But anyway, what I want to go back to as well. I'm not trying to drag this out, but you said something like hyper specialization. That's
Mm,
also, if you think about it, in the job market, nobody wants a generalist. As much as you think like, oh, but if I take the generalist route,
yeah.
I can do anything and I can be employed everywhere. Yeah, but you're not gonna be sought after. You're
Yeah.
not gonna be uh, how do you say it?
Valuable.
Your value, yeah,
Yeah.
your value is not going to be as high as a specialist. If
Indeed.
you want to be successful, you have to
Mm,
be a specialist. The question is what you specialize into. Do you specialize in a field which is in high demand, or is it a niche, right?
mm-hmm.
And that's the risk, right? You
Indeed.
might
Yeah.
specialize yourself into a field that's in high demand now, but will it be in the future? What if you specialize yourself into a niche field that's not in demand? Then you're basically fucked, right?
Yeah. I.e. coding.
It's difficult. It's
Ah,
difficult.
very, very. All right. I guess let's not stress. Let's not stress about this any further. I guess that
No,
we
I don't think discussing things is stressing things.
yeah. I mean, like, you know, for people that are learning something they like to learn, just keep doing it. If you're going to consider whether your craft is going to be valuable in the future, uh, I guess just take a gamble. It's very difficult to tell.
I mean, there's no such thing as the only two definite things in life, which I think it's pretty cool to hear, and not far away from the truth. I don't think so. Is death. Once you start living, at one day you will die.
Mhm.
And the second one is facing the consequences of your actions, or living, or that at some point the consequences will come and you'll have to deal with it.
Isn't death the consequence of life?
I guess so, but that's a definite thief, and there's so much ways life can branch out that you can't cover everything. So the
Mm.
most over encompassing thing is just the consequence. If you decide to eat or not, if you decide to look after yourself or not, mentally or physically, if you decide to put off that thing that you have to do or not, it's all just consequences.
I like that.
Doing something or not doing something,
I think
those are all choices.
I think the both of us came from Mr. Jordan's lecture that the two things guaranteed in life are death and taxes. Now we're doing our own little spin.
Well, Texas, it's also a consequence,
Yeah.
and you also can choose if you want to deal with it or not. But I'm just saying,
You speak from
that,
experience.
what are you talking about? What are you implying?
Nada, nada.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big financial shock. Yeah. And
Oh,
it's gonna
no.
hit again another time next year for this year,
No.
which is
Well, we'll do a
yeah,
revisit in one of the episodes, maybe.
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 Anyway,
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Then I hope this was hopefully somewhat informative. And we will catch you up again next week. Check us out on Spotify.
oh, don't say that. We don't know that.
Oh, we yeah, we don't know that.
Things are so
It's so chaotic now,
unstable,
no?
unstable. Yeah.
Oh, we'll try our best, but no guarantees.
If not, we can just do me and you.
Yeah,
If that or like last week where I'm not available, we can do duos. It doesn't always
exactly.
have to be trios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And check us out on Patreon if you liked. And goodbye, guys.
Have a good one.